So much football and World Cup qualifying here on ESPN. CAF World Cup qualifying looks like this on Friday. Plenty of matches to feast your eyes on. We'll be discussing all of them as usual back on ESPN FC. And we'll now welcome into the show Nadim Anua. Gab Marcotti is still with us. Ghana-Nigeria, one of those games definitely worth a look. A heavyweight qualifier here with Ghana looking to put their AFCON form behind them, and Nigeria perhaps better than their last 16 exits suggested. Lots to play for in this game. Nadim Anua coming into the show now. Ghana-Nigeria, Nadim, what are we looking out for in this one?
Oh, to be honest, I think the last time Nigeria beat them was 16 years ago, and that seems crazy to say because in our minds, Nigeria is such a strong force within the continent. But it's going to be a tough game. I think Ghana have a few players missing, and coming off the AFCON tournament themselves, where they were particularly bad. I think they finished bottom of their group, and the expectations were so high. There's a sense of pressure there, but as is the case with a lot of those other ties, you've got sides who've won their groups to try and get to this point. So the fact is, it's going to be a tough game, whichever way you want to see it.
Gab, if you were to predict how this game's going to go, who's it going to go in favour of?
It's fascinating. There's a totally different dynamic here, obviously, because this is two-legged. I agree with Nathan. I think Nigeria showed us some really good things, perhaps surprisingly so, because the expectations are pretty low going into it at the African Cup of Nations. But in this two-legged format, it's so tense. I could see Ghana perhaps shading the first leg, but that certainly won't mean that the tie is over.
Okay, so Ghana, Nigeria, one of the games coming up, plenty of them. In fact, we have a repeat of the AFCON Final as Egypt and Senegal will also be facing off. Many looked ahead to this game coming up between the two of them. Will it be a revenge mission just 47 days after that final? Senegal obviously winning that one. Nadim, do you think revenge will be on the minds of Egypt?
Yeah, for sure. I think in some ways it kind of has to be, because when you saw the disappointment that they had in the final, you're seeing players crying on the field, and you know how much it meant to them. So that was obviously a big blow. But the fact is, they knew they had these two games here to try and qualify for the World Cup. And I think this time, this first game especially, will be a bit different because it's going to be in Egypt. The last time, the style of play that they had and I like when they played against Senegal and throughout that tournament itself, where they weren't really on the front foot, didn't score a ton of goals. I think it's different now when you're playing in front of your home crowd, and there is that sense of, we want revenge, and as a consequence, it'll be a tough game. But one thing is for sure, Senegal as champions are in a great spot, and they're the highest ranked African team as well. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough opening game, but I think Senegal will edge it in the end, and that will be a huge disappointment for a lot of Egyptians, I would say.
Senegal are big favourites going into that one, Gab. Would you agree with the heavyweight favourite tag?
I think so, just because Senegal were just so impressive and got stronger as the tournament went on in the Cup of Nations. I think Egypt weirdly, would feel more comfortable, I think, if this was a single 90-minute match on neutral territory as well. I think the way the crowd plays into it is also going to matter because, Egypt, I don't think can afford to just play on the counter unless they score. You could see it being a cagey affair and Senegal being, all right, if you sit off us, then we're going to get you back at home on the 29th of March. And so I think Egypt have to be a little more daring, and that might be a little bit out of their comfort zone.
Another game to look forward to is Cameroon taking on Algeria. Both of these teams desperate to make it to Qatar after missing out on Russia. Been a lot of noise in the background from both sides as well. A lot of drama behind the scenes at Algeria. Also changes behind the scenes at Cameroon. What should we look out for here, Nadim?
Oh, well, this is an interesting one. I think when you look at the way Algeria performed at the African Cup of Nations, where they were nowhere near their best, and that was as defending champions. They do feel like there needs to be a reaction there. And with Cameroon themselves, they finished third and there were celebrations that came at the end of it, but I felt like there was a bit of disappointment that they didn't actually make it to the final and they didn't go on and win the tournament itself. So I think, again, it's a tough spot. And, I've got to hold my hands up and say, it just doesn't feel right to me that we're only going to be seeing 5 teams from the continent make it to the World Cup. Because as I say, all these teams have won their groups, yet still 5 of them are going to be dropping out. And that just seems a bit crazy to me. And unfortunately, it just means that for some of these ties, somebody's going to be disappointed purely because they didn't manage to win a 2-legged tie, even though they managed to win pretty much all of their group games. But suppose that's the way things work for now.
Is this a golden generation for Algeria, Gab, that should be doing better?
I think they definitely should be doing better. I think there's certain players who were off their or were off their game or weren't there at the Cup of Nations. I think they're playing to show that they're the team that won it last time around, or second to last time around. And so I think it's just going to be really interesting contrast in styles. Again, I would expect something of a cagey affair here, and something that's really not going to be settled until the return leg.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.